Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Day 2 Virtual Action Research Training Program. Are you ready to start our program today? And reminders for all, ang atong attendance is available and will be sent by our research team. And our Facebook group is called Talomo District D Researchers. And to formally start our program for this morning, we will start with the singing of the national anthem and followed by prayer through audio-visual presentation. Okay, sorry for that. We have a technical problem. Now, we will officially, are you ready? Ready na? We will officially start the program with the singing of the national anthem and the prayer through audio-visual presentation. So thank you. Reminders to all participants, the registration and the attendance link is sent sa ato ang group chat, which is Talomo District B Researchers, and our Facebook group, Talomo District B Researchers. So atong Facebook group, walay problema because naka-public siya. Okay, for the recap, it will be given by Ameriza and Lucernas from Balyok Elementary School.
Hello, good morning, ma'am. Can you hear me right now?
Yes, ma'am. Doon ka na, ma'am.
Okay. So our Talomo District PSDS, Sir Diony Ferrolino, Research Coordinating Principal Ma'am Hazel Linaza, co-research enthusiasts from different schools of Talomo District, allow me to greet you a pleasant and blessed morning. I am tasked to present the recap for the first day of our 3-day virtual action research training. It started with the singing of the national anthem through an AVP and followed by a prayer through an AVP also. Research Coordinating Principal, Ma'am Hazel Linaza, gave her welcome remarks after. Then Ma'am Alve Yamuta, the District Research Coordinator, presented the participants, house rules, and leveling of expectations. The Bago Elementary School Teaching Force presented an intermission number through a dance. Then it was followed by a message from our district supervisor, Sir Diony Ferrolino. Mamarites Marayag of Balyok Elementary School introduced to us our speaker for the day. The rest of the day was emceed by Ma'am Mariani Laguna of Bago Elementary School. Our speaker for the whole day was Ma'am Joanne Asoy, PhD, a Master Teacher 1 of Matina District, and a birth grantee. In the morning, Ma'am Joanne started the session with a very interesting quiz through a game and followed by presenting the purpose of her research. Later, she shared with us the 4 research themes, which are the teaching and learning, child protection, governance, and human resource development. She also presented different working titles for action research in each theme. Ma'am Joanne also discussed with us the rationale behind RA 9155, or the Governance of Basic Education Act of 2001, ZO 39 series of 2016, which is the adoption of BERA, and ZO 16 series of 2017, which is the Research Management Guidelines. For the session 2, our speaker shared with us on how to go about the problem and intervention, working question and working title. We were given time to prepare our action research working titles. In the afternoon, the session started through the presentation of outputs from 5 participating schools and followed by the discussion of the speaker about the research management cycle, scope and allocation of research proposals, the eligible and non-eligible activities and expenditures, the release and liquidation of funds. The speaker also discussed about the classroom-based action research, the context and rationale and action research question. We were given time to prepare for the presentation of outputs later. Ma'am Crystal Boz of Talomo Central Elementary School shared with us her research book about Far Near Program. For the review of related literature, the speaker reiterated to use recent studies. That is all. Thank you so much for bearing with me, and let us all have a good day.
Thank you so much, Ma'am Amariza. Now, are you ready for our speaker for today's morning, for today's session? But before that, Ma'am Juvie Y. Remperas from Balyok Elementary School will give a brief background about our speaker this morning. Okay, naana ba si Ma'am Juvie? Good morning, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Our registration is open for all. So mag-start na ta og register for our attendance this morning. And gihatag siya sa atong mga research team sa ato ang group chat, which is Talomo District B Research. Sa katong mga naapay kaila nga wala pa naka-join sa ato ang group chat, pwede ninyo duulo ng ato ang research team. And sa ato ang Facebook group, we also have Facebook group which is Talomo District B Researchers na ang ato ang day 1 kay naa na dito naka-upload na. So sa tanang sa tanang gusto nga i-review kung unsa ang mga nahitabo yesterday, pwede to ninyo tan-awon para makaprepare ta sa ato ang output na himo for this 3-day virtual training. Okay, naana ba si Ma'am Juby? Sige, wala pa. Ay, nana. Good morning, ma'am. Okay, our speaker yesterday was Ma'am Joanne Asoy, Doctor of Philosophy from Matina District, and she is also a master teacher. So kabalo ko nga daghan kaayo mo natun-an for yesterday's session. So ready na ba ta sa atong mga output? Naghinay-hinay na. O kabalo ko no kanang medyo lisod siya, but through the guidance of our speakers, mahuman ra gyud nato ni ang ato ang action research. So good luck lang sa to ano. Okay. Okay na si ma'am. Okay, to give us the brief background of our speaker, we have Ma'am Juvie Y. Remperas from Balyok Elementary School. Wait lang ma'am ha, kay wala tay tingog ma'am. Ano sa ma'am? Check lang nato ang ato ang speaker or kung naka-mute ba ta ma'am. So sa atong participants, wait lang kaayo no. And so, sorry for that technical problem. Ginaayos na ni Ma'am Jovi. So, wait lang, takadali lang yun kaayo. And sa atong research team, so congratulations, no? Day 2 pa lang and makita na nako na it will be a success. Thank you so much sa atong team nga naadiri for guiding, especially sa karon sa atong ICT, si Ma'am Grace, nga naadiri. And reminders again, sa mga wala pa naka-register sa atong attendance link, please, magsugod na taog, register sa ato ang attendance for this morning. Ayan na. So, try na po na ito balik, no? Pwede ninyo iduulo ng inyong kung kinsay coordinator sa per school para ma-appeal mo sa group na sa Facebook group na Talomo District B Researchers. Especially kitong wala pa naka-search kung unsa. So for Jose Bastida Elementary School, duulon lang ninyo si Ma'am Eliza Jean Pastolero para sa atong group sa ready na? Okay. Again, tayo kay Ma'am Jovi Remperas. Okay na, Ma'am? Hello, Ma'am Jovi. Wala gihapon tay sounds, Ma'am. Wala gihapon. Ma'am, i-unmute ang kanang nakay makita nga murag naka-red diha nga mic basig naka-mute ka, Ma'am. Okay na, wala gyapon. Ma'am, basig na kay earphone diha, Ma'am. Anya na lang to. Okay, and our speaker for today's session 1 is action research methods that will be given by Michelle M. Palmera, Doctor of Philosophy, Master Teacher 2 from Tibongco District. Okay, wait lang ta ha. Okay, because of the technical problem ni Ma'am Jovi, may mag-start na ta sa to ang
Good morning, Talomo B District. I'm very much honored and pleased that you have invited me as one of your speakers for your first district-wide virtual research training. Despite of the pandemic that we have and we have to adopt with the new normal setup of education, we are very happy that this district has still pushed through all of the programs and projects of the Department of Education with the aid of technology. I'd like to acknowledge the present persons in your district, starting off with your public schools district supervisor, Sir Juni M. Ferolino. Sir, good morning. To the research coordinating principal, Ma'am Hazel and Lenaza, principal of A Bonifacio Elementary School. Good morning, ma'am. To your uh, district research coordinator, Ma'am Alve D. Yamota. Hello, ma'am. To the 5 school principals of this district, and of course to our research enthusiasts. So before I would proceed to my topic for this morning, I know that you were able to have a grasp already with other topics from your day one training. So I hope that you have started working on that. making it your writings as your assignment so that you could be able to keep the pace of working on with your action research. So the very basic endpoint of this endeavor is for you to create an basic action research, which is based on your classroom teachers. Okay, so my first topic for this day is about action research methods. Okay, allow me to present to you my slide. Okay. Okay, I hope everybody can see my slide. Okay, so the very first topic that we have for day two is about action research methods. I believe you are already done with your proposed intervention, your context and rationale, as well as the other topics that comprises the first part of your research. Okay, so this time I'll be introducing to you how are you going to work on with your action research in an action with your basic action research that you will be soon conducting in your classrooms. But I believe that you already have identified your problem and you have identified who would be the participants of your research. So this time, let's go to action research methods. So the action research methods has this basic action research. We have the participants, other sources of data, and information. That's the first one. Then the next part is data gathering methods. And the third is the data analysis plan. How are you going to go about these three parts of your action research? So as you can see here, I know that you would be given 10 minutes to complete your action research. So the first part here is to make your action research achievable and easy to work on with. Okay, so the part five is the action research method. So this is how you are going to write it. You see there is already a template that you are just going to fill out those parts there. Okay, so the participants, other sources of data, and information are all included in one paragraph only. So take note that, I mean, it's not only two paragraphs, no? There are two paragraphs there. You have to take note that according to Data Privacy Act, citing names of a person, schools, and etc. are prohibited. Therefore, if you would notice there as to how you are going to write your part one of your action research method, you will say the participants of this study are the number of pupils only and what grade level they are in. Okay, so no need for you to mention the names because basically, at least maybe you would be studying two of your pupils in your classroom. And then no need for you to announce or to write there the name of the school. What you will be writing there, if it is an elementary school, you write their school ID and your district because the cluster is intended for the secondary schools. Then this study will gather the primary data or secondary data. So you would write there what are the data that you would intend to gather for your research. And those data has an intention or those data focuses on the scores, the assessment, and or the grade level of your students. observation that okay, there you have it. You will just have to have in mind and write all of them in a paragraph way. Next would be the second part, which is the data gathering methods, okay, or what we call procedure. That's the step by step process on how you are going to go about with your action research. So first, of course, you have to consider the submission of permission letter to the principal. Okay, of course, since your focus is only your classroom, therefore your immediate classroom, you need to do it you need to write a letter to your principal asking that you have the intention of conducting a classroom basic action research. Okay. Next, asking permission to the parent or to the pupil. Okay, in case, because you have, in case that they would be part of an exam, you need to write a letter. Okay, because that's part of your ethical standards of conducting research. Okay, however, it depends on the sensitivity of your study. That's why you need to write a letter to the parent. But if it only involves the children in the usual classroom activities, then I there is no need, no, there is no need to write a letter, provided that they would not be harmed and they would not somehow, we would not be touching any ethical values about these learners involved. Okay, but basically, if you already have identified two students, the activities that you are going to do will be tested to the rest of the class. But what you will gather only is the data of the learners that you are focusing with. Okay, but it depends also, again, it depends also with the intervention that you would be making. If your intervention is solely for one on one or individual, then you could do that. Okay, is to gather the scores of the learners. Okay, so maybe you could do the intervention to the entire class and gather the data from the two identified learners only. Okay, as I've mentioned earlier, I have touched this one, the ethical guidelines. Okay, the ethical guidelines. So you are going to write there in as part of the data gathering procedure. Okay, that your research followed some certain guidelines. Okay. So ethical guidelines were observed in the conduct of this significant endeavor. First, no harm was inflicted to the students. And second, informed consent was secured. And okay, this is very important. The confidentiality of data was treated with utmost care. Okay. So you have to really do all these three things, okay, primary things. You could also add more if it is necessary in the study that you are intending to conduct. Okay, the last portion of data of action research method is the data analysis plan. Okay, it is a narration on how you are going to analyze your data. So do not use advanced statistical tools. Okay, with the classroom basic action research, the nature of this is more of a qualitative, because in the context and rational, you would be using a first person pronoun, okay, in writing, because this is very personal encounter with the experiences of your learners inside the classroom. Okay, therefore, it's you who has that first-hand experience. Therefore, you have to use advanced statistical tools, because you would just be writing observations, simple data analysis, maybe you will be using some statistical tool, but the simplest one only. Okay, if there is a score involved. But if you wanted to draw out the line of your observation with the learners, after the intervention has been given, then you could just narrate that. Okay, narrate that. So in this case, uh, your being a storyteller is as a teacher, okay, will be needed. Okay, will be needed. So data was analyzed using, so you write all the observations that you've done. If there are field notes that you have to write, you write it down. See there that the learners has a greater number or has been always attending the class virtually, okay, because the scenario now is different because we are in a new normal setup. So like in the submission of the module, the learners submitted their modules on time, so you could make a graphical presentation out of that. Okay, so there you have it, the first portion of our discussion for this morning. It's all about the action research methods. So, recap, okay, as a recap, let's go back. So, the first one, okay, the first one is your participants, other sources of data and information. And then, as I have written that one. How are you going to do that? You will just fill out some portion of the template that will be given to you by your district research coordinator. The second one is the data gathering methods. And last one would be data analysis plan. So there you have it. That concludes our action research methods. Um, in case that you have some questions, okay, my dear research participants, you could write your questions, okay, park your questions for morning.
Thank you, Ma'am Michelle. And do not worry sa mga wala naka-follow o maayo. We have a recorded version of this session for today. And it will be uploaded on our Facebook group, which is Talomo District B Researchers. And para maging part mo sa ato ang group, we just have to duulo na to ang atong mga district school research coordinator. Sa Balyok Elementary School, Ma'am Alvedi Yamuta. Sa atong Bonifacio Elementary School, Ma'am Grace Luzon. For Bastida, Ma'am Eliza Jean V. Pastolero. For Talomo Central, Ma'am Precious May M. Apat. And for the Bago Elementary School, Ma'am Helenita P. Anga. You can open now your snacks kung gutom na mo, no? But we will have a working snacks. And the next session is about action, research, work plan, and timelines and cost estimates that will be given to us by Ma'am Michelle M. Palmera. Stay tuned lang po.
Okay, good morning to everyone. We are already done with our action research methods. And in case that you have some questions about that, I hope that you have written that one and you have parked that one and we will be discussing that one later on after all of our presentations are done. Now this time after being done with the first two, we will proceed to the second session. The second session focuses on the action research work plan and timeliness as well as the cost estimates. Why do we have cost estimates here? Basically, the very objective of the Division of Davao City of you conducting your classroom basic action research is for you to be chosen, Okay, you might be chosen in the future because they see that your action research is of value at this moment, and it is of use for other teachers. Then the research, no, the research funding, okay, which is what we call BERF or Basic Education Research Forum, would be funding your research. Okay, so that's why you need to have that cost estimates. Okay, so we are futuristic in terms of our thought that we need to we need to make a very timely, a very valuable, and a very significant action research, which could also be applicable and which could be also applicable to other teachers, not only in your school, but to the entire division or to the entire region or even in to the entire country. Okay, this time let's move on. So I would be presenting here um, our day two session, okay, which focuses on action research work plan and timeliness as well as cost estimates. I'd like to acknowledge Mr. Larry Saliga, Master Teacher 1 of your district, as well as Dr. Glenn Villones for crafting this template. Okay, also for creating the slides, ready slides, although I have incorporated some portions of it, but they are the ones who made it. So thank you very much, Dr. Villones and Sir Larry Sadiga. So the very objective of our session is to list down the activities undertaken during the entire duration of the research activity and estimated entire cost of the research activity based on birth allotment. Okay, birth allotment. So as you can see, that's the very objective already. We are trying to really invite everyone to really be part of crafting good action researches so that soon they will be funded by okay. So action research work plan and timeliness. Okay, so based on the DepEd's Order 16, series of 2017, the maximum duration of the research activity is only for 6 months. Okay, so you would be counting now since it is already what month? It's March. So you would be counting. So preferably you would be ending your work by December. Okay, but that is the maximum. Okay, maybe you could end that one by after 3 months or after 2 months or after 4 months. Depends on the length or the duration of how you're going to conduct that one, and also the intervention, because intervention plays a very big role in terms of the the length of the conduct of your study. So there, you could also see this one in your research template or research worksheets that will be given by your district research coordinator. That there is a table intended for this purpose. Okay, so you would be writing there the task name, task number, task name. When did you start it? When did you finish it? And then the duration of that is at 1 week. And then the person or persons involved for the activity or the task that you have done. So this is an example of a research conducted way back in 2016. Okay, so there you can see. I will just reading a few portions of that because definitely you would be having your own also. So the commencement of the study, orientation of the roles of teachers, parents, and students. So it started September 1, then it lasted at September 1 also. So the researcher or the teacher has spent only a day for this task, planning and conference with proponents and facilitators, reproduction of questionnaires for FGD or interview, then FGD session with the teachers, and so on and so forth. So you see there the data analyses of qualitative results. As I've mentioned, it's the action research. It nature is more of a qualitative rather than a quantitative research. So data encoding of classroom monitor result until the submission of the results of the study to the regional office. So if you would be counting that one, the teacher has spent only 2 months for her research. Wow. That's a very fast research, right? But I guess the focus of the research is also different. That's why the duration of time also has also, or the manner or the nature of the research that the teacher is conducting would certainly affect the duration of time that she would be spending for the research that you would be conducting. Okay, for the cost estimates, okay, the first tranche is 70%, which is costing to 21,000 pesos. Then the second tranche is 30%, which is 30,000 pesos. So how much are you going to receive if you will be chosen, if you will be funded by birth? That is 30,000 pesos. So imagine, with the research that you have conducted, you will be receiving 30,000 pesos. But of course, you would not be receiving it and you would be spending it the way you wanted to spend the money. The money has an intended, okay, money would be intended for the expenditures related to your research. So the activities in your cost estimate must match with your work plan. Whatever you have written in your work plan, you would be putting a budget for each of the tasks that you have done. Okay, so here in the cost estimates in your worksheet, part 7, okay, of the worksheet that we have in our research. So cost estimates. For reference, see DO16, series of 2017, which is the Research Management Guidelines found on pages 12 to 13. Okay, what are the eligible and non-eligible activities and expenditures for our 30,000 pesos? For your 30,000 pesos. Okay, that soon you will be receiving. I declare that. Okay, so the activities in your cost estimates must match with the work plan that you have. Okay, so you would be writing there whatever activities that you have done there would also be written here during the first tranche of your research, first tranche of the money that you received. Okay, and then second tranche, which is the completion of the 30,000 pesos. Okay, what are eligible activities and expenditures for the 30,000 pesos that you will soon be receiving? Supplies and materials, domestic travel expenses. You would just be using our RAR for this matter. Communication expenses, that's a cell phone load. Okay, so, but please bear in mind that you need to secure an official receipt for these things. Okay, official receipt, except for, of course, like domestic travel expenses. Like if you would ride in a tricycle, definitely a tricycle do not have an official receipt. So what you will write there, or what you will attach is only an RER. Reproduction, printing, and binding costs. The food. Oh, take note, the food. Food can be part of your cost estimates, okay? Or the cost, or where you would be spending the money, okay? Food and other incurred expenses during the conduct of your survey. If you have done survey, you will be giving food to the person who will be receiving your survey questionnaire. And then FGD, you will be giving snacks to the FGD participants. To your learners, if they are part of the observation, you could also give them. Okay. And then also, once you are done with your research, you would be sharing that one to your co-teachers. Therefore, you would also be spending money for the food purposes of purposes of your action research. Okay. Other expenses related to the conduct of research not listed in the non-eligible expenditures. Now let's get to know what are the non-eligible. Okay. So I've said earlier, expenses related to research dissemination, that's part of the eligible expenditures for your 30,000 pesos. So what are those non-eligible? Okay. equipment. Definitely, if you wanted to buy a laptop for your 30,000 pesos, because one laptop costs 30,000 pesos already, and you cannot use your money in other activities that you'd be doing for your research. Buying a software is not allowed. Salary on your end or overtime pay, because basically you would be having an overtime working on your research, especially when you are writing already. Payment for resource speakers, statisticians, and other service providers, they are not allowed. Utilities, they are not allowed. Office rental, they are not allowed. And of course, overseas travel and all item not included in approved research proposal. I think this is quite impossible to be included here, especially now that we cannot really travel, right? Okay, so these are the non-eligible activities and expenditures. But apart from that, if it's not listed there, then that is eligible. Of course, if you are having some doubts as to where you are going to spend your money, you could also refer that one to your district research coordinator or to Sir MacArthur Gamayot or Dr. MacArthur Gamayot, our research coordinator in the division of Davao City. So this is an example. So whatever is written in your plan would also be um, reflected or would also match the activities that you have done, and also the money that you have spent for each of the activities made. Okay, so that's an example. So you see, you already spent 21,000 pesos. So as you can see there, it's more of a snacks, materials. Okay, for if it is a conference, definitely that entails food also as well as orientation. The second tranche then would be more of the full package of your research now, like the packaging of the full blown research. If you would be asked to make a tarpaulin, meals and snacks for a public forum for dissemination, and transportation allowance and snacks for the submission of your manuscripts. Okay, so there you have it. Are you excited now? Okay. Are you excited now to make your research? Because definitely you would be earning, apart from gaining incentives from the money that you would be receiving, you would also be gaining incentives of knowledge, and as well as sharing the knowledge that you have also with your co-teachers. Okay. So again, if you have some questions regarding our research, you could park that one. Okay, you could just park that one. And later on, we would be answering your questions one by one after all the presentations are already done. Okay, so that would be all for action research work plan and timeliness as well as cost estimates. Good day.
Hey, thank you. And we are done with our session one, which is the action research methods, and session two, which is the action research work plan and timelines and cost estimates. Okay, before that, reminders for all participants to use your DepEd email in your attendance for today and tomorrow's session. And to give you an ample time to prepare your output for this session, we will be back at exactly 1 p.m. for the third and final session. The third session will be plan for dissemination and utilization, and the session 4 is for references. So teachers, you have at least 2 hours para mag-prepare sa ato ang outputs for the session 1 and session 2. So thank you very much for watching and see you later.